and welcome to audition preparation for the Muni 2024 season. My name is Sarah Geckner, and I'm going to be taking you through the children's audition song for this season. The song chosen this year comes from The Music Man, and it is the song Gary, Indiana, and it's the first 24 bars of the song. Gary, Indiana is a song sung by Marion's little brother Winthrop, and as many of you know, Winthrop has a little bit of a lisp. So the Music Man staff would like all of our little boys auditioning for the role of Winthrop or auditioning for the show to sing Gary, Indiana with the lisp, which I'll show you how to do, and all of our young ladies to sing Gary, Indiana without the lisp. So we'll go through it both ways. Okay, I'm going to just sing through the song with the accompaniment once. I'll just sing it without the lisp so you can hear how it goes, and then I'll teach it to you. So here's how it sounds. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, that's the town that knew me well. If you'd like to have a logical explanation how I happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my face. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome, but Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my home sweet home. Okay, so that's what it sounds like with the accompaniment and what it will sound like at auditions. Excuse me. Okay, so let's just learn it on the notes, okay? If we're going through the words here, it is written out with a lisp. So Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Ladies, that would just be once again, okay? That's the town that knew me when would be that's the town that knew me when. Okay, so I'm going to go through it on the notes. The first time I'm going to do it with the lisp. Then I'll go back and do the same thing without the lisp. Okay, so here's for our boys. We're going to go Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, that's the town that knew me when. If you'd like to have a logical explanation how I happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my face. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome, but Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my home sweet home. Okay, so if you're singing it with a lisp, anytime you have a word with an S in it, you want to use a TH. Okay, Paris, France, Louisiana. This middle section has a lot. Logical explanation, elegant syncopation, moment of hesitation. Okay, so anytime there's an S, you want to make it a TH. Okay. Now for our ladies, we're going to sing it nice and proper without that lisp. And it will be like this. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, that's the town that knew me when. If you'd like to have a logical explanation how I happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my face. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome, but Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my home sweet home. Okay, one of the questions questions I get a lot with this song is, where do I breathe? And that's a great question because it's just kind of never ending. So anytime I've taught this song in the past, I've always kind of said to breathe after the second Gary, Indiana in each line. So you would go, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Same thing on the second line. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, that's the town that knew me when. And so on. Then you can get through explanation, syncopation, hesitation, face, and then after the second Gary, Indiana again. Okay? So that's what it sounds like with a lisp, without a lisp. Okay? That's just the notes of the song. We will also post some tracks that just have the melody line, what I was just playing there, and then we'll also have a track with the accompaniment, which is what the piano part is in the song. Okay, that's the part that's not just the melody, but both hands of the piano playing along with you. And I've got a track here of what the piano part sounds like so that I can sing with it. So I'm going to do that one more time with the accompaniment so you can hear what it sounds like. I'll actually do it 2 more times. I'll do it once with the lisp and accompaniment and once without the lisp and accompaniment. Okay? So here's Boys with the lisp and accompaniment. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, that's the town that knew me well. If you'd like to have a logical explanation, how I happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my face. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome. But Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my home sweet home. Okay, so with the accompaniment, it's a little bit different than without. It's got a little bit more of a soft shoe bounce feel. Okay, so just kind of stay with it and it'll work out just fine. Let's do that one more time and I'll leave the lisp out. Okay? Excuse me. Here we go. No lisp. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, that's the town that knew me well. If you'd like to have a logical explanation, how I happened on this elegant syncopation, I will say without a moment of hesitation, there is just one place that can light my face. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, not Louisiana, Paris, France, New York, or Rome. But Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, my home sweet home. So there's just a little taste of what you'll be singing if you're going to children's auditions this year for the Muni 2024 season. Okay, so best things to know when auditioning are just to sing with lots of energy, sing with lots of breath support, okay? We were talking about breaths in the beginning, but breathing after the second Gary, Indiana. If you can take a really big breath, you can make it through those lines without breathing like this. Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, Gary, Indiana, let me say it once again. Okay, so use that big breath that fills up your lungs and you can get through the whole line. If you feel like you need a breath in the middle, if you get nervous or the notes are a little bit high, then take a breath after that second Gary, Indiana. Okay, so I'm wishing everyone the best of luck this year at auditions. Break a leg, and I hope to see all of you shining on the Muni stage this summer.